Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. We're standing here making sure that nobody messes with our reception. So it's quite a thing to fight to get on the air when you tell the truth. Now, we may have to be monetized soon, so I'm going to ask you to forgive me for the commercials, because if we don't monetize, YouTube is going back through all their old channels that aren't making them enough money and are erasing the channels. Even though they're government supported, they've eliminated free speech because Trump is paying YouTube to pay the FBI agents to censor. And now they've set it up on an AI program thanks to the Trump AI program system. It must be suicidal. But anyway, alert tsunami warning across the Pacific, 8.8 quake in Kamchatka Peninsula. If here is Russia, then here's Moscow. All the way to the other end of Russia is a little thing called the Kamchatka Peninsula and the Comfort Islands. We had an 8.8 earthquake last night, and there is a tsunami warning across the entire Pacific. I thought it was just Alaska to southern Washington, but it's across the Pacific. It already washed out a fishing plant. But more on that in a little bit. First, a note from our advertiser, not YouTube sponsored. So we may have to add YouTube commercials. We're checking into that. You have any idea what it's like to wake up pain-free? The back it's not killing you because it's not dissolving. Now, I'm not saying these things do anything. Take a couple of these a day. My wife doesn't like taking 6, but with this, we've eliminated her 3 types of cancer, and her best friend that she's visiting, the tumors, the white spots from the MRI are shrinking. 3 days. I couldn't believe it. Blew my ever-loving mind. She was nutritionally deficient. She takes Ozempic, and that has a lot of problems. So every drug you take takes some kind of mineral or vitamin out of your body, and the only way to replace it is with sea vegetables. Now, I do extra A and I do the B complex, because every expensive drug that's supposed to reverse the numbing in the fingers, which was caused by the pemphigoid that I got, the bolus pemphigoid, and weaponized impetigo done by the CIA. Anyway, every drug you take, from aspirin all the way to an Advil to the Sinopril and Lipisil and Mishimil, takes vitamins and minerals. Your cancer is robbed of the minerals, and it breaks out with the big C. So I bring in sea vegetables to counter, and I don't take drugs, but I bring in the sea vegetables. And it's so nice to wake up in the morning, like this morning, and have no back pain, and have no pain in your legs or in your feet. Isn't that a wonder? Start with the sea vegetables, move to the salmon oil, which lubricates your body, helps take care of ED, by the way, and then the joint pain, which I better buy order now because they run out really quick on that. Anyway, in the news, the Clinton Foundation, which is run by Chelsea Clinton, who's a known sister of light, knights in white satin, sitting around a table, lighting a black candle, putting notes in there. Letters are written, never meaning to send, holding hands in a circle, while the guards with machine guns guard the Lutheran church, saying, "I love you, Satan. I love you, Satan. I love you, Satan." So the men can go out and do their human ritual. That's Chelsea Clinton. Well, shape-shifting, the last person that was murdered for ratting on Epstein was murdered, she said Epstein shape-shifted in front of her. So this walking, talking demon or draconian or whatever else you want to call it is Epstein, and he owned that foundation before he sold it to the Clintons. You see, the rich don't pay any taxes because they put their salary in a nonprofit. And then they read the IRS regulations. So you're earning $150,000, $200,000 a year. You want to buy gold and silver from Noble Gold because your investments are doing flippity flops. You look into starting a nonprofit, but I promise you, don't ever lie to the IRS. Never. It will always catch up with you. And President Trump, who's listed in IMBD like J.D. Vance and Zelensky and Trump as all actors, he's still paying the FBI to censor me so that the hits on him can't be known. He must be suicidal. He's still paying to put fluoride in our water. He's still paying the 55th and the 60th Air Wings of the United States Air Force in Travis Air Force Base and Omaha, Nebraska Air Force Base to spray us with deadly chemicals like arsenic. He's still paying NASA to use Dryzen Air to spray us 100 tons per jet per day to kill the planet. And why he's still paying them, I don't know. Weather manipulation. There is massive flooding in Tibet on the border of China because China wanted to build a dam and they got a signal. There's massive flooding in Beijing, killed almost over 3,000 people. You can't trust the Western newspapers. They all lie. There any people died. Yeah, over 3,000 are dead in Beijing. Weather manipulation. The fires across the western United States, weather manipulation. Tesla developed an earthquake machine. He was playing around with frequency vibrations, and the entire city of New York started to shake, so they ran to Tesla's lab and found out he was working with frequencies. Created a massive earthquake that wouldn't stop in the middle of New York City. Of course, he was too stupid. He proposed alternating current because it goes long distance. Westinghouse wanted direct current because they could put the generators in every neighborhood and make a fortune. So Tesla got sued out of business, but we went to AC, alternating current, because you can travel long distances without losing power. So on my solar shed, we go from DC to AC, and then we can transport the AC into our house with almost no loss of energy. There's about a 30% loss, but we'll accept that. We had a 6-hour power outage. 2 nights ago, complete media blackout. It was in the middle of the night. Nobody even noticed it. And then there are interconnection problems sprouting up all across the planet. Well, we know of a guy down by Austin, Texas, and up here, internet connections are horrible. Complete media blackout. Nothing in the news. You'll never find it on any other channel. Now, we had an 8.8 earthquake off of Alaska, off of the Kamchatka Peninsula, which is basically just northern Japan. Some of the islands Russia seized in WW2. I mean, there's nothing on it. It's these big rocks. Obama gave China a bunch of our Alaska islands so China could harvest the oil for themselves. Remember, he wore a ring that says, Allah is greater. Allah in Bedouin means God of War, Mars, Satan. So Obama wore a ring that said Satan is greater. So the Comfort Islands, it's been estimated through Russian exploration that there's 20 to 40 billion barrels of oil off of Comfort Island. 40 billion barrels of oil selling at the pump for $15 a barrel. That would be somewhere around $600 billion worth of oil plus natural gas, over $1 trillion. That would be over $1 trillion of oil and natural gas sitting off Comfort Islands, which is as much as we've given. Obama gave China. But then when we got to Obama 3, 4, and 5, Obama ran the Biden administration. No, he didn't. Some alien force did. We don't know who it is. Why do you think they're not prosecuted and in jail? They're not human. They're walking, talking demons, just like the Lucifer Trust. And the head of the United Nations said, this is UN broadcasts. That's why Hegseth worships Lucifer. Oh, it's the sign of love. No, it isn't. This is the sign of love. This is the sign I love Lucifer. I'm a pig. Sacrifice humans. Keep these conflicts going. Sell weapons to Rwanda so they can kill 40 Christians 2 days ago. Sell weapons to Thailand. Sell weapons to Cambodia so they can kill each other. We've got to keep the sacrifices going. Anyway, so the Comfort Islands, the U.S. Department of Defense, which is not controlled by Trump, he appointed the Luciferian walking, talking demon Hegseth, who's not going to do what God asked him to do, so we're always going to be in conflict with somebody. The Department of Defense offered Russia $15 billion for Comfort Islands. Russia said, go pound sand. I'm summarizing what Mikhail blah said. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Sergio Lavrov, who's been replaced, and we have a double now. Sergio was done years ago. That's why he doesn't age. You know, you ever wonder why Putin hasn't sprouted a wrinkle in 25 years? So the Russian foreign minister told the United States Department of Defense to go pound sand. 8 hours later, an 8.8 earthquake hit the Comfort Islands. Now you do the math. Department of Defense says, sell us the Comfort Islands. They say no. They get hit with an 8.8 earthquake and lots of aftershocks. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, Michio Kaku, a professor at Harvard University that teaches that whites should be killed. I know. I was offered a Harvard. I was offered a Yale scholarship to join Skull and Bones. But in Harvard, they speak like this. Michio Kaku said that we're entering a Type 1 civilization because we can control the weather on our planet. We can control the energy on our planet. Well, we don't enter a Type 1 society until we use water-powered motors and static electricity generators and build dams to use the energy in the planet to power us. As long as we're using fossil fuels, we'll never get there. We'll continue to destroy planet Earth. And as we control the weather and suck all that water out of certain areas, the Earth is twisting and turning. Now this 8.8 earthquake, God says, is the beginning of the birth pains. And I know in a week later there'll be 24 YouTubers that duplicate me. Oh, we're entering the birth pains. Yes, we are. We said it first, and it came from God. The Earth crust is now destabilized. We've gone too far in playing for this. Again, Tesla was suppressed by the United States Department of Defense. Trump's daddy, he calls him his uncle, went in after Tesla died and stole all of Tesla's data. And it took from 1945 to 1997, 50 years for the U.S. to use alien technology to build the first high-area aurora resolution program, HARP. It was run by the Department of Defense, so they just sent in some soldiers to the University of Alaska and transferred their ownership to the University of Alaska, which Trump is funding, HARP. Now we have one at Thule Air Force Base in northern Greenland, and we have one in northern Norway. I believe it's near the Seed Vault, but I couldn't tell you where. I'd have to do 200-300 hours of research. But they're both small. Russia has one, China has one. But they don't have a 1 billion watt one. You see, there's enough natural gas in Alaska to power the United States for a decade. But they had to use it because they weren't going to transport it or build pipelines. So they use it for the HARP array and military radar systems and military systems to destroy the planet. Now, if you look on top of every city building, every county building, there's probably 8 or 10 antennas. One of them is 5G to heat you up and burn you because the cell phones still work on 4G. That's why the internet hasn't sped up any. The 5G is there to kill you. We showed that on number 2, and the guy on top of the antenna. But we're going to have to erase that video soon. He was up there working on the antenna. This is the 4G receptacle. The rest are 5G to kill you. And if you get this, it's easier to kill you. But be that as it may, there are a lot of antennas all across this country. And we can use HARP to enter the upper atmosphere, microwaves, 2.4 gigahertz, same as your cell phone, to fry your brain. Hello there. Same as your microwave. You know that where they had 3 cell phones all broadcasting, popping the popcorn? That was real. Anyway, just put popcorn in a microwave. We have a 50-watt microwave. If I take the door off the microwave and point it straight up, it will create an adiabatic layer of air that goes straight up, and it will bring in moisture and create a storm, rain. Texas could do it. New Mexico could do it. Arizona could do it. Nevada could do it. But they're not gonna, because the governors are all committing treason. They're all appointed by a council of 5, and they commit treason to kill their own people. So we're being screwed. Now we have gone too far, and God says we've destabilized the crust. The earthquakes are skyrocketing, and we've just hit a pivotal point. You know, a lot of times the things go like that, and all of a sudden they go like that. Or the length of the curve goes like that, and all of a sudden down. Well, we've reached that inflection point where, well, for you it would be like this. So we've reached the inflection point of the number of earthquakes and volcanoes. It's been going up tremendously. We have twice as many volcanoes erupting today as when I started the search 4 years ago. But we've reached the inflection point now. So what does that mean? I don't know. Is the U.S. going to stop firing microwave into the upper atmosphere to destroy, which destroys that part of the ozone? When they turn HAARP off, it fills in. So the ozone, which took millions of years to build, we're destroying. There's a reason we find 2 billion-year-old nuclear reactors, 100-million-year-old crypts with humans in them, with current DNA. There's a reason we saved the old seeds from Egypt before we modified them and the flood occurred. There's a reason we've taken them into the Nazi bells and gone back in time. This government is fleeing this planet, thinking they can avoid God's judgment. Ah! Think again, geniuses, Einsteins. Think again. What did the truth say to the politician? In 100 years, I'll see you on the backside of Boot Hill. In other words, you're going to die and face God. You better know his son, or it's an eternity and HE double hockey sticks. And that's something I wouldn't want to wish on anybody. Anyway, we've destabilized the earth. We're going to find out what happens, aren't we? God's never wrong. And we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. Only God knows. That's why I get the information from him. Only he knows what's coming. God bless. Thank you very much. And it's so nice to wake up pain-free, knowing my backbone and my teeth aren't dissolving because of all the things I've been taking. Sure, massive damage on the teeth. Probably within the next 2 years, we're going to have to pull 5 or 6 teeth and put in, well, we can't put in implants, but we'll have to put in false teeth. That's my fate. I was exposed for too long before I found out how to reverse bone loss. And it wiped my teeth out, and the VA won't see me because I refuse their LSD Prozac. If you don't take their Prozac, you're in trouble. God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. We try to keep this under 20 minutes because the mind can absorb only what the rear can endure. And we had a lot of problems with getting an interview with Noble Gold. So we're going to try again this week. But, you know, they're so busy because gold is the only solution to the economic crisis. And I know when I buy from them, it's real stuff. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.